I want to ask you first about these, I will call them tougher voter ID laws, and I know I'm going to get a snarky response from you on that one. But are they really necessary?
Not snarky, cheery. I came to bring you good news, Randy.
Oh, boy, okay.
Here's the deal. Last year, first of all, early voting began in Florida in 2004, and now voters have a chance to vote absentee early or on November 6th. So what the legislature did last time around is they shortened the number of days, but they extended the hours. So now, instead of not being able to vote after 5 o'clock, we could go vote at 9 o'clock all the way up until 10 o'clock. So in many ways, now all voters have a greater chance to go cast their vote early because the polls are open later.
That is the most positive spin I've heard on that.
Well, that's the truth. And I'll tell you, there are a lot of people who are excited, because, especially military members. And by the way, did you know that today is the Navy's birthday? So happy birthday to the Navy. A lot of folks in the military in Florida are very excited about it because they can go cast their vote after they get off work. It gives us more opportunities to go vote.
I want to talk to you a little bit more about the early voting issue. But first, I mean, when you look at the voter ID laws, a lot of people look at them and they say, well, a couple of dozen cases of fraud might happen, but then you're also putting thousands of votes at risk, and thousands of people might be left out of the process. So what's your explanation of that?
I don't know who could possibly be left out of the process. One time,
those who can't vote.
Why would they not be able to vote?
If
Who
they
could
don't have
not
the
vote?
proper ID.
I one time voted, and I did not have the proper information. I had moved, and I voted a provisional ballot. And the next day, I had to go and prove who I was. And those laws apply to everybody. You know, I think it is so important, don't you? There are two things in America you must be an American to do: serve on jury duty and vote. And the only thing my liberal friends have a problem with showing ID for is to vote. I think we should show that we are who we say we are when we go to cast our vote. I don't see a problem with that.
You've actually said that the new voter ID laws could actually help African Americans, which is interesting, because the Democrats are very concerned that these new voter ID laws will leave African Americans, Latinos, and many other minorities out of the process.
Well, you're going to have Democrats say one thing and Republicans say another thing. But common sense ought to prevail. If people have more hours to vote in the day, let's say you and I, it's a Tuesday, and we know that early voting ends on Saturday. I think you and I are responsible enough to figure out when to go cast our vote. This has nothing to do with skin color and everything to do with responsibility. And I can assure you that Black Floridians and Black Americans are resourceful enough and smart enough and not befuddled. They can get an ID. We can all go vote. We all know the rules, and we're all responsible enough to cast our vote.
Let me get back to that early voting issue, because it started October 27th. It starts October 27th in most counties, but for the first time, people won't be able to vote on that last Sunday before the election. We talked about this earlier, actually, on the program this morning with Reverend Richard Dunn. I want you to listen to what he said.
Sure.
So I believe it's a diversionary tactic. It's a detrimental tactic. It's even a demonic tactic that's being used to suppress the voter turnout.
Those are some pretty strong words.
They sure are, and I agree with the first adjective. It is diversionary, because I guarantee you, if the Reverend and I, and it's a Tuesday, know that it closes on Saturday, and we got to vote last Sunday after church, we're all smart enough and responsible enough to cast our vote and be counted.
But why get rid of the Sunday, though?
Well, the reason they say, the legislature said, was to help gear up for the actual voting day. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what their motives are. I can only tell you that it is not going to stop anybody who is determined to vote to vote. As a matter of fact, as I said, we have 3 ways to vote: absentee, early, and on November 6th. And I'm telling you, Floridians who care are going to go cast their vote.
Just 24 days left, hard to believe, until the election. There's a new poll that I want to share with you and our viewers showing Romney ahead in Florida. If we can take a look at that, you see it there, 51% to 44%.
Amazing.
Why do you think that is, and is this what you expected?
I didn't expect it quite like this. I didn't expect President Obama to fumble, and he did fumble. Let's be honest, it's not that Mitt Romney did so well. It's that Barack Obama, our president, fumbled in the first debate. Tuesday, I expect for President Obama to come out gangbusters in a different format and do very well. But here's the important thing. As I said last time, in Florida, 24% of the voters are not Republican, they're not Democrat, they're independents. And independents are now paying attention, and they care a lot about reality, not just rhetoric. The economy means a lot to them, and I think they are leaning toward Mitt Romney. For one reason, He doesn't scare independents. He's not that right-wing conservative that Newt Gingrich or Rick Santorum is. He's considered a moderate to independents. That 24% in Florida, I think, are the most important voters in the United States.
Well, he's certainly making himself sound a lot more moderate as he moves toward the center these days, right?
He does that, doesn't he?
Yes, he sure does. I'm glad you agree with me on that one.
Absolutely. And I'm glad I was able to cheer you up on the voter situation.
You did. Thank you for coming in from Florida this morning.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, Burnie. Thank you.